Many of you here in the Magnolia State are still recovering from devastating tornadoes in March. MEMA is now waiting on a request for federal assistance, but one state that also received damage from the storms was recently denied help. 3 on Your Side's Nathan Lee joins us now after speaking with the agency about where things stand for us. Nathan.
Well, Maggie, MEMA Executive Director Stephen McCraney tells me they are confident that they will still receive federal aid for those devastating storms, even after Arkansas was recently denied its requests by President Donald Trump. McCraney believes the data they have compiled in all the areas affected by the storms meets FEMA's threshold.
We have not forgotten about our survivors, our citizens in the state of Mississippi since the March 14-15 storms.
Mississippi now awaits a response from federal leaders after sending its request for federal aid from FEMA following the storms last month that ripped through the state, which produced 17 tornadoes, killing 7 people. MEMA Executive Director Stephen McCraney says Mississippi suffered more than $18 million in damages from the storms. And even after Arkansas was recently denied aid, McCraney is confident in the work his team has done to receive federal assistance.
We did a full validation of all the assessments that were necessary, and I believe that we stand on some very good numbers. And then the major and the destroyed number of homes are of a magnitude in which I feel very comfortable that once our request makes it to the president, he's going to see that Mississippi needs the assistance that we're asking for.
And while McCraney thanks all those who have helped during the aftermath, he notes the importance of receiving this aid.
The state needs the assistance. The citizens, the survivors do. We've got people that are there that are banking on it to try to restart their lives from nothing.
MEMA's federal declaration was sent to President Donald Trump April 1st, putting MEMA in a time window where they expect a call any day.
We're definitely within that window, which I normally would receive a phone call, and we're looking forward to it. I really want to get some help and assistance to the locals and let them know that we've done everything. And now we're waiting on those processes that have to take place to get that document in front of the President of the United States and for him to sign a declaration and send that to the governor, and then we're going to get down to some serious business.
Now, we will continue to follow this developing story and let you know what the White House decides. Nathan Lee, 3 on Your Side.
Another Jackson Real-Time Command meeting.